Double fertilization in angiosperms, flowering plants. Flowering plants undergo unique reproductive process where two fertilization events occurs. The double fertilization event occurs between the male reproductive organ, which is male gametophyte, and female reproductive organ, which is female gametophyte. Before the fertilization occurs, the ovule has to undergo some changes. At present, the ovule contains one reproductive cell, which is megaspore. This cell is diploid and undergoes meiosis, producing 4 haploid megaspores. According to the majority of species, 3 of these megaspores degenerate, leaving one surviving megaspore. This surviving megaspore expands and undergoes 3 rounds of mitosis to produce 8 haploid nuclei. First of all, it divides into 4 nuclei. Then it divides into 8 nuclei. As the nuclei not developed an individual division, they initially share the same cytoplasm. The complete structure is known as embryo sac. Within the establishment of embryo sac, cell walls begin to form between most of the nuclei. 3 cells named antipodal cells form opposite of the opening of the ovule, known as micropyle. Another 3 cells from the micropyle, 2 are the synergist and 1 of the egg cells, and 2 nuclei lives at the center of the ovule, known as polar nuclei. In order to double fertilization occurs, the male gametes, the sperm, travel from the anther to the embryo sac within the female reproductive organ. The pollen grains contain 2 main cells. One is the tube cell, which makes the bulk of the pollen grain, and the sperm cell, which is generative cell. To reach the embryo sac, pollen must land on the stigma. Once it landed, it begins to germinate. The tube cell constructs a long hollow structure inside the stigma, which is the male gametophyte, towards the ovary. The generative cell travels behind the tube cell nucleus. Once it reaches near the ovary, it undergoes mitosis to produce 2 haploid sperm cells. The pollen tube reaches the micropyle and releases the sperm cell inside the embryo sac. One of the 2 sperm cells fertilizes the egg cell. This produces diploid zygote, and the process is known as syngamy. And the other sperm cell move outwards and fuse with polar nuclei and forms diploid endosperm. This endosperm serves food supply during early development of embryo. These both fertilization events occurs together, so it's known as double fertilization. Gymnosperms, spines, tracheophytes, ferns, and non-tracheophytes, mosses lacks this double fertilization process. Thank you.